there's two things that I have good, really, really good going for me, right? I'm really big on social media. I'm very marketable also. Like, I'm very entertaining. People like to watch me. They like to, even if you hate me, you like to watch what I do. And that's not being cocky or feeling myself. Even if you hate me, people love to see what I do, right? I want to talk to you guys about being sponsored and like what I think is like how you can get sponsored or how to like get teams to look at you, because it's not all about being results. There's like three main keys to being sponsored in my opinion. This is for like a person who's a pro player and they want to be sponsored. One, of course, your results will matter. Like no team is going to pick up like person who's not ever getting out of pools unless like they just had a really big following from YouTube or something. But then they're just like a content creator, not really a pro player. Number two is your brand, right? Your Twitter, your Twitch, your YouTube. Those all matter. Like the impressions you get. Like if you look at your Twitter analytics, you can see like the impressions you make, and like those things are important for teams. Like teams will ask you for those things. They'll ask you for your Twitter analytics or your Instagram, whatever, and or they'll ask you for those things because it's important. It brings visibility to the team. It brings visibility to you. For me, I think now people just know me for like the alpha, right? That's like my thing. I never really planned for that to be a thing, but like the things you don't plan for is the things that stick to you, right? I never planned for the alpha to be my brand or like those type of things, but like that stuck. Yeah, I think like me winning tournaments is what people remember. Like that's like me coming out of nowhere and dominating for like a whole year, and then 2019 last year coming back just winning mad tournaments. Like I feel like that's what people remember me for. Like they just remember me for always beating everyone, right? Just winning tournaments, beating people, talking trash. I think that's me now. Like, I owned it. I owned up to it, being an alpha. When I said that whole line, it was never meant to be that, right? But like the nicknames you get is never planned. I feel like the Beast, I don't know if the Beast was something they ever planned, like the Wong factor. Like those things aren't really planned, right? You just get them. It's up to you if you want to own it or not, and that can become your brand. It's up to you. You don't have to, but like, I mean, if everyone's calling you it, it's kind of, you can't really escape it. A good way to get sponsors' attention is just being consistent and like streaming, tweeting, just doing things. Like that is the easiest way. Like results is the hardest way, right? If you want to be a player sponsored off results, that is the hardest way you can possibly be sponsored from a game, is being good. That's the hardest way. Content is actually the easiest way. It's not easy to make content, but it is the easiest way to get sponsored and to have teams look at you. It's like, oh, this dude is this. He's doing this on Twitch. He's doing that on Twitter. He's doing this on YouTube. His numbers is growing rapidly. Every day he's seeing like over 1,000 subs on YouTube or whatever it is. I think that content creation is the easiest way, but people don't want to do it, right? Because it's harder. Content creators are guaranteed views. Like a team is guaranteed to get eyes on them if you're creating content. Teams are definitely, I feel like, more likely to sponsor a content creator over a pro player. I think the third thing is just how you conduct yourself, right? How you stay out of drama, like you make sure like you aren't in, those type of things. I think teams are really interested if you like are very well mannered, like how you conduct yourself on Twitter, how you conduct yourself, because like when they're seeing you're in the open, like you don't want to, or they doing interviews, you like doing interviews and like you're not very well spoken. I feel like that for a team is a big thing. I feel like a team will look at interviews of you to see how you talk and how marketable you are. I think those three things that I said are like the three very important things for someone who's looking to get sponsored in FGC, right? There's so many like teams in FGC. There's small teams and stuff that they don't really offer anything, and everybody just, I feel like there's a lot of people who just wants to be like, they just want to be a part of a team, right? And they just don't think about it in the long run. Like, I feel like all these smaller teams that's like, they're not really offering anything, and people sign to them getting nothing, is like, it hurts us in the long run. And it's just like, it doesn't really do anything for us, because it's like, it's some decent, like, decent players who can get maybe something a bit better. If a team isn't going to support you the way you want to, don't sell yourself short to be on a team that's not really giving you anything, because it's not really worth it, right? It's just not really worth it. Like, you can definitely do better off on your own. And like, some teams are just out to look for clout, and like, that's just all it is. Like, they just out to, you do stuff for them, but like, you don't get anything really in return. So I think that hurts the FGC a lot. Maybe if people knew like numbers that certain players get, it would help. Like an NBA, like, you know how an NBA, everyone knows everyone's salary and shit like that, right? Everyone knows that. Maybe that would help. I'm not really sure 100% if that would help, but like, I know a lot of league players, most people know league players' contracts, right? I feel like it's not really a secret. For some reason, like, people, they know their contracts. I don't know if people just tell them, or it is in the open like how it is in the NBA. I do think that maybe if people knew salaries, it would help, but people aren't really comfortable sharing their salaries with everyone, because a lot of people, there's a lot of things, a lot of teams I've talked to, or a lot of, like, you know, yeah, just teams I've talked to who don't want to join the FGC because certain player asks for so much money, and it just makes them leave, because they like, oh, everybody, like, I know there's people who believe they should be paid more than next guy who does more than them, right? Like, I've heard stories, or I've, you know, talked to people personally where I have to tell them, and this is personal, I've had to tell some people, like, I just don't think you're like worth what you think you are. And that's really what it comes down to. Like, a team is not going to pay someone over what they think they are worth. Like, don't try to keep negotiating an unrealistic number when they gave you what they think you're worth. And if you don't like it, that's fine, you can leave it, but don't just try to negotiate to keep that. Like, just be like, all right, you always set the bar higher for yourself, right? Like, I always, when I talk to a team, set the bar higher for myself. And if, like, I don't really think I should get that much, but like, if they give it to me off the back, I'm gonna take it, right? I'm not gonna argue with them. There's so many teams I hear that just offer like hotel, or maybe just flight, or some teams really just actually, like, there's actually teams that just offer registration to a tournament. And I'm like, huh? I'm like, bro, you just took registration to a tournament? You was okay with that? Like, I always tell everyone, ask for a high number, and then, like, I'm all about telling people, you always ask a team for a high number first, and then negotiate down if they want to. Like, if they take your first offer, then, bro, you hit the jackpot, right? But don't try to negotiate that number. Don't keep trying to negotiate the number that's actually unrealistic. Like, you gotta know your worth. Like, sometimes you're just not worth what you think you are. Like, you gotta be realistic with yourself first. People might think that teams only look out for themselves, but not all teams are like that. Like, Panda Global, I can say, and no lie, like 100% honesty, I can say that they, you know, they treat me like as if I'm not actually on a team, and I'm just like, they're like my family, right? Like, let's just say the owner of Panda Global is Alan and David, and those guys, like, they don't even treat me like I'm part of Panda Global. They treat me like I'm like, they were my dad or my cousin, or like, you know, a family member, right? They treat me like that. Like, they don't only look out for themselves, right? They look out for me. They actually wanted to help me grow, and they wanted to, like, you know, just help me as a person grow, help everything around me grow, my channels, my Twitter, all that stuff. You know, they wanted that, and that's what I look for mostly in a team. To a team, everything isn't always just about for them, right? They also want to look out for you. And those are the teams that are the real, in my opinion, those are the type of teams that I love. You know, a good way to get sponsors' attention is just being consistent and like streaming, tweeting, just doing things. Like, if you want to be a player sponsored off results, that is the hardest way you can possibly be sponsored